This is Darren L. Harris, and once again, thank you for joining us right here for the Own the Room speaker training. I hope that you have been helped or being helped as we continue to go and grow to the next level. As we say all the time, if you expect people to buy what you have to say, you must own the room. That's exactly why we keep coming back, because we want to own the room. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Today, we have a special lesson for you. We're going to be talking about frameworks that work. I'm going to give you 2 frameworks that work every single time. But before we go any further, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't, because there are more videos that are going to come. Because look, leadership is about influence, nothing more, nothing less, and everything rises and falls because of leadership. It's about influence, and what better way to increase your influence than by becoming a better speaker, a better presenter. That's what I want to show you to do, because my role is to help individuals who are leaders, who are entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, faith leaders, spiritual leaders, to increase their influence so that they can build high performing, high impacting, and sustainable organizations that change their part of the world. My name is Darren L. Harris, and I'm your friend. So today, what I want to do is I want to show you how to have a winning presentation every time. I promise you, if you are able to understand these frameworks by the time we're done, you will be able to present more confidently and assuredly every time, and you will be able to capture the audience before you. The first thing that we're going to talk about is a framework that is very simple. It is, you tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them, and then you tell them what you just told them. So let's try it. Today, I'm going to talk to you about 2 frameworks. The first framework is what you should do for every presentation. You tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them what you just told them. I just used that particular framework, and it worked, didn't it? The second framework that we're going to talk about today comes in the form of 4 questions. These 4 questions must first be asked of yourself, and then you must answer it for your audience. 4 questions. The first question is going to be, why this? The second question, why me? The third question, why now? The fourth question, now what? The now what is basically your call to action. And I'm actually going to give you an example right now. And the example I'm going to use is going to be about a very serious and real time situation. So we're going to begin in a minute. But before we begin, I want to point out a few things, and we're going to have another training that'll talk about specifically what I'm about to tell you. And it is about how you're dressed. Because of the conversation that we're about to have, because of the presentation that I'm about to give, I chose a certain attire. Your attire matters. First impressions matter. And we're going to have another training that is going to be about the big opener, how you begin. And I'm going to use some of these techniques within this particular presentation, and I want to see if you're able to point some of them out. Let's begin. according to the Washington Post, in 2015, since they have started tracking fatal police shootings, there have been over 5,000 individuals who have lost their lives. Just last year, in 2021, it was almost 1,100 individuals who lost their lives due to a fatal police shooting. And we just started this year, 2022, and there have been almost 140 fatal police shootings this year. It's probably no surprise that majority of the individuals who have succumbed to these fatal police shootings have been black. It's probably no surprise that 95% of the individuals that have been fatally shot by a police officer have been male. That is my why this. It's also my big opener. I gave you the why this. So now you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. So it's no surprise because I am going to talk about what? Fatal police shootings. I gave you a credible source and I gave you the results of the credible source. That's a big opener. There are facts, and there are startling facts. Facts that you may not have been aware of. And if you may not have been aware of because you've done your research and your homework, your audience may be just as stunned. That's the why this. The second question that you must ask of yourself and answer for your audience is why me? Why me? When I present the why me, I love to tell stories. Stories work for me. And we're going to have another training for our On the Room speaker training where we specifically talk about storytelling. But the why me is really important because it is what connects you with your audience. The why me is where you make the connection. One of my friends who is a great and powerful speaker and trainer and coach, Jonathan Sprinkles, he says that points are powerful, but it is connection that is key. So you want to connect with your audience, and the best way to connect with your audience is through story. Every story must have a point, and every point must have a story. So this is the why me. Back in 1993, my life, my family's life was tragically changed in an instant, in a moment. One Sunday morning, after returning home from church, I got a call. And it was my sister, and she was frantic, and she was screaming, and she was crying. And the only thing that I can hear coming out of her mouth was that Little is dead. Now Little was my brother Lionel Tyrone Harris. But I couldn't register what she was saying, and my mother was next to me, so I hung up the phone, and then the phone rang again, and I picked it up, and it was my sister, and my mother must have noticed that something was wrong, something wasn't right. And she said, "What is wrong?" I said, "It's Tamara." She said, "What is wrong?" And she said, "Little is dead." I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that moment. Even today, it still pains me and it still hurts. And we didn't learn until later that my little brother, 15 years old, was shot. But not only was he shot, but he was shot in his head. And not only was he shot in his head at 15 years old after coming from his first high school dance, but he was shot by a New Orleans police officer. Unbelievable. Why me? Even as I teach this presentation to you, it brings back painful memories to see my little brother's lifeless body, one who I was his role model, gone, his life taken away from him at a very young age, brutally at the hands of a New Orleans police officer. I was angry. I was sad. I was disappointed. I was discouraged. I was confused. And still to this day, we have no answers. And many of us, we've heard of all of the recent, whether it was police shootings or these pseudo vigilantes that killed Trayvon Martin or the knee on the neck George Floyd. Every time that there is a senseless murder of an African American man at the hands of a blue bullet, I am reminded about little. Why me? It's important for me to be involved. It's important for me to ensure that no other African American male senselessly loses their lives at the hands of a blue bullet. I'll cut there. So we talked about why this. I told you why me. Now I want to say why now. We must stand up and we must speak truth to power. Because if we don't, we'll continue to see the lives, the futures, the hopes of our sons and daughters lost at the hands of blue bullets. Now don't get me wrong. I am not saying that every police shooting was incorrect. I'm not saying that they weren't defending themselves, because there has to be solutions where both parties can work together. But it's hard for communities of color to respect the color blue when they keep giving us the blues. Now, there are many other things that I could add to this part of the presentation, the why now. Because there are some things that go along with, of course, this particular situation. Negative impacts on families, negative impacts on communities. We can talk about many things, and so I would encourage you, if you get to a point in your presentation where you need to, the why this, the why me, the why now is really important. But the fourth and final question that you once again must ask of yourself and then answer for your audience is the now what. What do you want them to do? You spent time giving a presentation. You've been very clear on what it is you're talking about. You said why me, and you talked about why now. Now what? What do you want them to walk away doing? You want them to do something. That's why you're talking. That's why you're giving a presentation. You want there to be a change, or there must be some type of transformation. So what is it that you want them to do? In my example, I would say something like, now that we've come to the end of my presentation, and I've given you some startling statistics from the Washington Post. I told you my personal story and why I'm involved. I told you why now it's important for us to get involved in helping to rebuild communities and rebuild lives and connections and trust amongst communities and law enforcement. Now here's what we can do. There are some great organizations out there. Some great organizations that are in your community that you can get involved in. There's some things that you can do in your faith institutions. There's some things you can do in the universities. There are many things that we can do. But one of the things that I chose to do is I chose to get involved on a national level. And there's an organization led by Reverend Dr. L. Sharpton called the National Action Network. And I am a proud lifetime member. And they do great work. We do great work. Not just march, not just hold rallies, but we continue to fight for justice. And when families are in need, NAN is there indeed. If you want more information about NAN, you can go onto the website at nationalactionnetwork.net. That's nationalactionnetwork.net. Or you can call them at 212-690-3070. Once again, that number is 212-690-3070. There's something that you can do. I chose to get involved with the National Action Network, and I would like and invite you to do the same. And if you say that's not what you want to do, I want to encourage you to do something, to say something, because silence is violence. Thank you. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us for, of course, our On the Room speaker training. My name is Darren L. Harris. I hope you've been helped today. This has been a really good session, and I hope that you were able to understand these two frameworks. Once again, as a review, we talked about two frameworks. You're going to tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them, and then you tell them what you just told them. That's what I'm doing right now. We also talked about a second framework that works every time, 100%. of the time. And that framework comes in the form of 4 questions. 4 questions that you must ask of yourself and then answer for your audience. As a review, those 4 questions are: why this? Why me? Why now? Now what? Let's review that again. Why this? Why me? Why now? Now what? See? It's just that simple. Look, I know that you guys are getting this, and I want you to practice some of these things that we have been doing. And I want you to give me some feedback. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because we're coming back and we have some more presentations that we're going to be giving you, because we want you to be great presenters. I want you to be better than I am. You know, that's why we're here. We're here to help you to increase your influence. We're here to help you to own the room. Why? Because if you expect people to buy what you have to say, you've got to own the room. Once again, leadership is about influence. Nothing more, nothing less. And everything rises and falls because of leadership. My role, my mission in life, and my call and purpose for you is to help you to increase your influence so that you can build high-performing, high-impacting, and sustainable organizations that change your part of the world. Once again, I want to thank you for allowing me to also share a little bit about my personal story, as I gave a real-life example about my younger brother, Lionel Tyrone Harris. Say his name. I wrote about him in my book, Living Life, Leaving Legacy, which is on Amazon. It's a very intimate story. In fact, every story in this book is very intimate and personal. But it's filled with not just life lessons, but also leadership lessons. I would love for you to purchase this on Amazon. Once again, I want to thank you for joining me for the On the Room speaker training right here on the Darren L. Harris YouTube channel. Once again, if you haven't done it already, go ahead, subscribe to my channel, like, share, comment, and let me know how things are going.
Darren L. Harris presents Live Life, Leave Legacy. Let's go. Living